Last season, the main character, Cha, was taken from his apartment building in an armored truck by Wook. Wook was a guy with scars who was supposed to be dead, but a monster had taken over his body and healed his scars. The mysterious guy, Jung Mong, didn't actually die when Cha fought him. Instead, he turned into a pool of blood, took over the truck, and revealed that he was the one controlling Wook's body. In the original comic, Jung Mong has a split personality, one good and one evil. Just like Cha, he survived the first 15 days of being infected. This makes him a special infected, meaning he's half human and half monster. Jung Mong thinks special infected can't live with normal humans, so he kidnaps Cha to help him find others like them and start a war against the rest of the world. Meanwhile, at the main military lab, a weird scientist named Dr. Lim is trying to make a vaccine to stop the monster virus. He's testing it on an infected person who is actually his friend. Because of these experiments, his friend now looks like a walking corpse. The tests aren't working, so the bosses think it's a waste of time and tell Dr. Lim to kill the test subject. Dr. Lim refuses and gives a crazy reason. He says humans have ruled the world for thousands of years, and it's time for a new top predator. He thinks humans are the disease and monsters are the cure. Back to Cha. He wakes up and realizes Jung Mong is controlling Wook's body. Wanting revenge for Wook, Cha gets mad and attacks him, starting a massive fistfight instead of talking it out. Since Jung Mong is just using Wook's body, he easily snaps a broken nose back into place. Cha holds back because he doesn't want to ruin his friend's body, and he gets beaten up pretty badly because of it. Cha manages to rip off the steering wheel, but Jung Mong shoots out a tentacle that stabs Cha and pins him to the truck. At the same time, the military sends a heavily armed team to hunt them down. One of the soldiers is Seio, a former Special Forces member. The military blows up a bridge to stop the truck, hoping they'll give up, but Jung Mong doesn't care. He hits the gas and jumps the heavy truck right over the broken bridge. The soldiers chasing them refuse to make the crazy jump and stop at the edge, losing track of them. Seio learns that making a cure completely depends on using the special infected. The military had caught a few before, but most died during crazy science experiments. Since the lab needs new test subjects, the bosses give strict orders to capture Jung Mong and Cha alive. Aside from Seio and Cha, the other green apartment survivors were checked and put on military buses heading to a safe camp. But being with the military didn't mean they were actually safe. If anyone showed even the smallest sign of being infected, like a fever or a bloody nose, they were killed on the spot. On the way, a man's nose started bleeding a lot. He tried to hide it, but a guard saw him. His friend panicked and tried to explain that the man just had blood cancer, not the monster virus. The soldiers pretended to take him for a medical check, but they shot him dead as soon as he was in their truck. They waited, and the dead man didn't turn into a monster, proving he was just sick. Still, the soldiers had a strict better safe than sorry rule and didn't care about killing an innocent person. When the victim's friend demanded to know why they did it, the soldiers beat him to the ground. A cold-hearted soldier took off his hat and beat the man until he stopped moving. The dead man's bride, still in her wedding dress, fell next to his body crying. Everyone else was too scared to do anything. The only person who tried to help was an old woman who jumped in front of the cold-hearted soldier and begged him to stop. Sadly, this cruel soldier was actually her own son, who used to be a kind kid. Near the edge of the camp, some survivors were clearing ruined buildings when they heard a creepy children's song. It gave everyone the chills. Suddenly, a giant, lizard-like monster jumped out of the rubble, could jump super high and climb straight up walls. The soldiers started shooting, but the monster was fast and easily dodged the bullets. Surprisingly, the monster completely ignored the scared people. The only people bleeding were the ones accidentally shot by the careless soldiers. Not caring about the innocent people at all, the soldiers threw a bomb into a train car where they thought the monster was hiding. The blast killed all the people inside, but the monster was sitting safely on the roof, totally fine. Total chaos broke out. One soldier tried to burn the monster alive with a flamethrower, but the fire only killed more innocent people. In the middle of this mess, the cold-hearted soldier found his mother's dead body. Heartbroken, he pointed his gun at his own head and pulled the trigger, dying while holding her. Yu, the former ballerina, quickly grabbed his gun and hid it. Soon after, she managed to sneak onto one of the military trucks leaving the area. Away from the running crowd, a little girl stood crying, looking for her mom. Her crying caught the lizard monster's attention. Quickly picked her up, but surprisingly, it tried to calm her down. The soldiers started shooting at the monster again. Using its thick, bulletproof skin, the monster protected the little girl and looked through the crowd until it found her mom. As the mom ran over, the monster gently put the child down. Unlike the cruel soldiers, this scary monster actually showed kindness. The monster watched them reunite and looked relieved, but the soldiers kept shooting it. Even though it roared in pain, the monster refused to fight back. Just as the lead officer was about to fire a deadly shot, an explosion went off in the ruins. The hurt monster ran toward the noise. Its own baby was hiding in that rubble. Soldiers climbed onto the monster's back and shot it up close, but the mother monster ran forward wildly to save her baby. Sadly, She was too late. The soldiers had already caught it. They told the mother monster to stop moving if she wanted her baby to live. Putting her baby first, she actually stopped. In the end, while her trapped baby cried, the soldiers burned the mother monster alive until she stopped moving. Deeply touched by the mother monster's sacrifice, the captain stopped attacking the baby monster and let it run away. When another soldier got mad and asked why, the captain explained their real rules. They are only allowed to kill monsters that are a direct threat to humans. He reminded everyone that this is the whole reason the Crow Platoon was created, to handle dangerous monsters while protecting the new human camps. Meanwhile, Jung Mong took Cha to an abandoned shopping mall. Getting ready to meet others like them, he changed into a nice new suit. Jung Mong hated the term special infected and said they should be called new humans. He claimed he only took Cha to save him and give him true freedom, saying he knew how terrible it was to be locked up by the military as a cure. Cha disagreed, saying past pain didn't give Jung Mong the right to murder people at the apartment building. To calm Cha down, Jung Mong promised to stop killing people for no reason. Then, he shared his big plan, bringing all the new humans together to build a perfect, safe home just for them. While they were talking, a screaming woman ran toward them. She was being chased by a brightly dressed monster, probably a shopaholic before they turned. Wanting to show off to Cha, Jung Mong stepped in to save the woman without killing the monster. The monster dug itself out of a pile of clothes. It had 4 arms and 2 legs, perfect for grabbing stuff. It attacked Jung Mong, but he quickly pinned it down with his cold tentacle. Badly beaten, the 4-armed monster ran away, even grabbing a few shopping bags on its way out, which was kind of funny. They knew there weren't many special infected out there, and most were locked up at the main military base. So, Cha and Jung Mong agreed to drive straight to the base to free the others from being used as lab rats. Seio's main reason for sneaking into the base was to find her missing husband. He disappeared after a medical test, and she thought he was locked up there. By threatening a high-ranking officer, she skipped security and blended in with the soldiers. She almost got caught, but she got lucky. Cha and Jung Mong suddenly arrived outside, drawing most of the security guards away. Just as their truck got to the gates, Jung Mong's brain glitched. Wook, the guy whose body Jung Mong stole, unexpectedly took back control for a second. Wook hallucinated his dead girlfriend standing in the road. Scared he would hit her, he yanked the steering wheel, causing a massive crash that instantly killed several soldiers nearby. Wook ended up stuck under the wrecked truck with crushed legs. Because he heals super fast, Cha walked away with barely a scratch. Cha tried to help a badly hurt soldier with crushed legs, but the terrified man screamed at him, called him a freak, and told him to go away. Looking sad, Cha decided to quickly kill the soldier to end his pain. At the same time, Seio quietly sneaked into a lab and watched a creepy experiment on a mother and her daughter. The daughter had turned into a yellow-level monster. The scientists were testing if a monster at this level still loved its human family. It was a total failure. The mutated girl's hands had turned into sharp blades, and the second her mother got close, the monster chopped off 5 of her fingers. Now that they had their answer, the scientists decided they didn't need the monster anymore. The sad mother knew what was coming but couldn't stop it. A guard with a flamethrower stepped up and burned the mutated girl to ashes. Realizing Wook's body was now useless, Jung Mong tried to leave it and take over a fresh, dead soldier. But he was stuck. Cha made fun of him, saying they weren't special, just rejects. He told Jung Mong that without a human body to live in, he was just a pathetic parasite. Cha then started dragging the paralyzed Jung Mong straight toward the military base. Angry and embarrassed, Jung Mong yelled that this was a suicide mission. He warned Cha that the army was incredibly cruel. When Cha didn't listen, Jung Mong started begging for his life, knowing going back meant certain death. But Cha wouldn't change his mind. Completely defeated, Jung Mong asked why Cha was ignoring his warnings. Cha simply said he was doing this so he wouldn't forget he was human. Jung Mong thought this was total nonsense. Even though Cha wanted to hold onto his humanity, the military had other plans. Right after he spoke, soldiers showed up and started shooting at him without a word. Falling into a pool of his own blood, Cha passed out. As for what was about to happen next, Jung Mong mumbled it best from the ground. Welcome to hell. The story cuts back to Yunyu. She was determined to return to the destroyed apartment building to look for her brother, Lee. Lee had nosebleeds before, a sure sign he was infected, and chose to stay behind. Pointing her stolen gun, Yunyu took over the truck and forced the head soldier to drive back. Jisoo tried to talk sense into her, saying that even if Lee was alive, he was probably a full monster by now. But Yunyu wouldn't listen. After parking near the ruins, she went out alone, leaving Jisoo in the truck to keep the gun aimed at the soldier. The apartment building was totally destroyed. In the rubble, Yunyu saw a dirty Bible, broken glasses, a bloody handwritten note, and scattered photos. Seeing these things brought back a flood of memories about her brother. She felt a deep sadness, realizing she hadn't appreciated their good times, and now everything was broken forever. Back in the truck, the captured soldier played mind games to get control. He lied about a vaccine to turn the survivors against each each other. He made up a story that there was very little vaccine left and they would only give it to people who saved soldiers from attackers. A blonde teenager fell for it right away and lunged for Jisoo's gun. When he missed, he punched her hard in the stomach. Using the distraction, a younger soldier named Park jumped out of the truck, raised his rifle, and took control of the crazy situation. The head soldier eventually found Yunyu and beat her up badly. He was about to kill her, but Park stopped him. Park noticed a bunch of fresh dead bodies nearby. They were all from the elite Crow platoon and were torn apart, which clearly meant a monster attacked them. Whatever could kill a whole special ops team was very dangerous. Since their truck had a flat tire and everyone was angry, the head soldier decided to leave the regular people behind. He forced them into the unsafe apartment building and told Park to tie their hands, basically leaving them for the monster. But Park whispered to Yunyu that he was tying the knots loosely. He told her to hide the second the soldiers left. Inside the ruined building, terrible danger waited. They heard crawling sounds from above, and a shadow walked out of the smoke. It was the sad mother from the first season who lost her baby. Because she missed her baby so much, she had turned into a giant monster egg in a bathroom. Now, she was back in a human shape, but she didn't seem to remember anything. She stared blankly and walked out completely naked without feeling shy at all. The cruel head soldier wasn't going to let her walk away. He hit the gas on his truck and smashed into her at full speed, hurting her so badly she threw up blood. He then grabbed gasoline to burn her alive. Just as he was about to light the fire, a monster with no eyes and half a head came over, drawn by the noise. It shot out a tracking tentacle that stabbed right through the head soldier's skull. Park got ready to shoot, but a little boy frantically waved at him to stay quiet. Park realized regular bullets wouldn't kill the monster. They would only make it mad enough to kill everyone. It wasn't safe there anymore. Slipping out of their loose ropes, the survivors quietly backed away toward an empty bus. The scared blonde boy ran first and scrambled onto it. Suddenly, a loud drone flew overhead, startling the blind monster. In a flash, the monster swatted the drone right out of the sky. Knowing the danger, Park had no choice but to shoot the monster, hoping to buy the others time to run. Things got worse when a second monster with giant eyes showed up. Its snake-like arms aimed right for Park and wrapped tightly around his chest. At the same time, the blind monster figured out where the people in the bus were, even without eyes. Reaching out, a hard tentacle smashed through the glass windows. With a strong pull, the monster crashed into the bus like a cannonball. The blonde teenager quickly started the engine and hit the gas. The bus jerked forward, knocking the blind monster off like a toy. Meanwhile, Yunyu refused to leave Park behind. Ignoring the blonde boy yelling at her, she fought him for the gear shift and forced the bus to stop. Seeing a chance, Park stabbed the many-eyed monster with his knife, but it did absolutely nothing against its thick skin. Miraculously, the blind monster accidentally saved him. Because it couldn't see, it swung its tentacle wildly, completely missed the bus, and smacked the big-eyed monster instead. This freed Park. To distract it, Park threw a rock at the blind monster's exposed brain. While it was confused, Park ran forward, dodged the swinging tentacles, and safely dived into the bus. The blind monster tried to chase them, hooking a tentacle onto the bus again. But when the bus drifted around a corner, the monster was dragged and thrown right onto the sharp spikes of a parked forklift, getting stuck. A few miles down the road, the bus suddenly stopped. Park saw a lone person walking. A nerdy guy with glasses begged the soldier to keep driving, terrified the stranger was infected. Park, however, said his job was to save survivors. Trusting his gut, he let the stranger on the bus. Amazingly, the new guy didn't seem to care about the danger at all. He immediately fell asleep and started snoring super loudly, completely shocking everyone else. The story cuts back to Cha. He had healed himself, but the military was definitely treating him like a lab rat. They stripped him naked, chained him by his neck and arms, put him in a cage, and wheeled him into a testing room. The head scientist, Dr. Lim, brought in another monster. Even though Cha didn't know what the test was for, he went along with it, hoping the pain might help bring peace. Suddenly, fresh blood rained down on Cha. The other monster, called a red type, smelled it and got very angry. The test was supposed to see how well Cha could fight, but it wasn't fair at all. Cha was knocked down with one punch. Before he could get up, the monster grabbed his neck and slammed him into the concrete wall. After beating Cha up, the monster opened its mouth to bite his neck. Right then, Cha's eyes turned totally white, and he used his special power. He looked straight into the monster's memories from before it turned. Cha learned the monster used to be a tennis player who got sick, turned, and lost his mind. Somehow, Cha helped the monster remember his human life. The monster calmed down and begged Cha, saying it didn't want to suffer anymore. Right away, Dr. Lim stopped the test. Workers in protective suits stepped in and, ignoring the monster's clear talking, burned it alive with a flamethrower. Cha cried openly. It broke his heart that a monster who got its human mind back still wasn't wasn't treated like a human. Watching safely from behind glass, Dr. Lim smiled, looking very happy. Cha's special powers made him way more valuable to study than the other monsters. Angry, Cha asked Dr. Lim why he killed the monster so cruelly. The doctor answered coldly, saying the monster was just a used-up test subject. He pointed out that the red-type monster had killed over a dozen soldiers, but magically stopped just by touching Cha. Dr. Lim had never seen a monster control itself, so he demanded to know what Cha did. But Cha had no idea. Cha only cared if his powers could help make the vaccine. Dr. Lim laughed and admitted a vaccine had already been made, but it was all gone. Cha begged him to make a new batch, promising to endure any pain needed. The doctor just told him to get some sleep, warning him things would get much harder tomorrow. Leaving the room, Dr. Lim saw a soldier having trouble swiping a keycard. He warned the soldier that one more bad swipe would set off the alarm. This soldier was actually Seio, who had just snuck in. Dr. Lim knew exactly who she was right away, but decided not to turn her in. Instead, he helped her open the door. Seio was very careful because she had never met him. Dr. Lim recognized her so fast because he was close friends with Seio's doctor fiancé. Still suspicious, Seio followed Dr. Lim deeper into the building. At the same time, Jung Mong had been put in a body bag and taken to a different lab. The scientists were confused. Usually, special infected heal from almost anything, but this body looked totally dead. The second the two scientists turned their backs, Jung Mong's fingers moved and he opened his eyes. When they looked back, the body was gone. They stepped closer, having no idea Jung Mong was holding on under the metal table. Even with broken legs, killing two unarmed doctors was easy for him. He wiped the blood off his hands, put on a stolen protective suit, and crawled out holding a small surgical knife. Hearing footsteps, he tried to leave his broken body again but was too weak. Just in time, he dragged himself into a room next to the hallway to hide. Inside, Jung Mong saw the test subject floating in a glass tank. He felt a rush of messy emotions as he stared at it, having a hard time believing someone he knew had been turned into something so sad and ruined. Dr. Lim didn't help Seio find her fiancé out of the goodness of his heart. He was creepily curious to see how the monster, who used to be Seio's lover, would act when it saw the person it loved the most. But the second Seio walked into the testing area, soldiers suddenly rushed in, shot Dr. Lim with a taser, and dragged him away. Jumping back to the night before, the survivor bus was still driving to the safe camp when they had to pull over. The little boy really needed to use the bathroom. He was too scared to go out into the dark, and the crying kid admitted to Park that he couldn't go alone. Park stepped closer to make him feel safe. Meanwhile, inside the bus, the blonde teenager was acting crazy. He was mumbling angrily about a ruined acting audition, obsessed with why he didn't get picked even though he was so good-looking. The little boy's sister was watching her brother outside, but the blonde boy's talking made her look back. When she turned around, she saw horrible white sores bursting out all over his face. The blonde boy creepily asked her if his face still looked good. Scared to death, she backed away and told him he looked really weird. Hearing that made the mutating teen snap. He lost control and violently attacked her, grabbing her by the throat, even though a single tear ran down his face showing he regretted it. Right in the nick of time, the sleeping guy woke up, grabbed his shotgun, and shot the teen in the shoulder. But the newly turned monster was tough. It stumbled backward, but then charged forward again. The stranger fired another shot, but it did even less damage. As the monster tried to bite them, crazily asking if it was handsome, Park heard the fighting and shot the blonde boy. But the monster wouldn't fall easily. With his head quickly twisting into something ugly, the monster begged Park not to ruin his handsome face. With the help of Park and the shotgun guy, everyone made it off the bus safely. Because he only cared about his looks, the mutated blonde boy crawled over to a puddle of spilled alcohol to look at his reflection. Seeing his hideous face completely broke his mind, and he screamed that the reflection wasn't him, making everyone sick to their stomachs. A second, twisted face ripped right out of the monster's stomach and let out a high-pitched scream. Jisoo quickly threw a spark onto the spilled alcohol, setting the vain monster on fire. After fighting the flames for a bit, the ugly monster finally died. At first, the group thought the young girl had just passed out from being choked, but when she wouldn't wake up, they realized she was dead. With their bus ruined, the survivors had no choice but to walk the rest of the way to the safe camp. The sudden death of his big sister completely broke the little boy's heart. He held on to her and refused to leave, forcing the stranger to pick him up and carry him away. As they walked down the dark streets, the only sound in the quiet night was the little boy crying his heart out. A while later, Wook's injuries fully healed, so he could walk again. Meanwhile, Seio found the lab. She saw the dead scientist scientists lying in pools of blood, but no one else had noticed them yet. Going deeper, she walked right into the room where Jung Mong was hiding. There, she found something awful. Her fiancé was locked inside a glass tank. He was covered in blood and his eyes looked dead. He looked like a corpse. Jung Mong had done this to him. Seeing the man she loved so badly hurt, Seio felt incredibly sad. Suddenly, a terrible pain hit her stomach. As we know, Seio is pregnant. The shock of seeing her fiancé seemed to make the baby grow unnaturally fast, and it started kicking violently inside her. Hiding in the shadows, Jung Mong watched the whole thing happen. Back with the bus group, the survivors finally finished their hard trip and made it to the military safe zone. Park ran off right away to find his soldier squad. The stranger, who had carried the crying little boy the whole way, left the group and walked into the camp alone. Everyone arriving had to go through a security check. The stranger angrily refused to hand over his stuff, and this quickly turned into a fistfight with the guards. During the fight, he dropped his gun. Even though he fought hard, there were just too many soldiers. They pinned him down, arrested him, and dragged him away. Dr. Lim was suddenly woken up by an electric shock. He was lying on the floor of a meeting room, surrounded by the top military bosses. On the table was a safe he recognized right away. It was supposed to hold the stolen vaccine. The bosses said they had already punished the thief who stole it. Now, they wanted to use the cure on themselves. They believed keeping themselves alive was the only way to keep the camp under control. Since Dr. Lim was the only one who knew the password, they ordered him to open it. Before typing it in, the doctor asked if they really wanted to take a medicine that was still untested and dangerous. The bosses didn't care and told him to open it anyway. Everyone watched as he opened the safe, but it was completely empty. The top boss was shocked. Dr. Lim had guessed someone would try to steal the cure, so he hid the real medicine somewhere else where only he knew. The safe on the table was a fake. Realizing they had been tricked, the head boss got insanely angry. To find out if anyone was secretly infected, the guards used a cruel test. They cut the hands of the arriving survivors to see if they healed super fast, which is a clear sign of turning into a monster. If the cut healed right away, that person was grabbed and locked up. If they bled like a normal human, they got a stamp on their hand and were let in. When it was Jisoo's turn, she was acting weird because she was holding on to a painful cut on her stomach. The guard got suspicious right away and ordered her to show him the injury. Whether she was just too scared or too tired, she froze and didn't show him. Right before things got worse, an announcement played over the loudspeakers. It ordered the guards to stop all security checks immediately and let all the survivors into the camp freely. Back in the meeting room, the head boss got violent to find out where the vaccine really was. He shot a bullet right through Dr. Lim's hand. Even though it hurt terribly, the doctor didn't say a word. The boss then made a horrible threat. He said he would kill every single regular person in the camp before they had the chance to turn into monsters. Instead of giving in, Dr. Lim just started laughing like crazy because he found the boss's cruelty funny. Without waiting, the boss hit a red button on the desk. Outside, tanks rolled out and started bombing the camp and shooting into the dark sky. Everyone panicked and ran for their lives. In the rush, the little boy was knocked away from the group, crying for his dead sister. Buildings fell apart from the bombs while scared people hid in the dirt. Jisoo was the only one who stayed calm. She shook off her shock, followed the little boy's crying, and covered him with her own body to protect him. While the bombs fell outside, the cruel boss gave Dr. Lim one last chance. When the doctor still wouldn't talk, the angry boss ordered his guards to kill him right then and there. Right at that second, the captain of the Crow platoon rushed into the room with his men. Without saying a word, they started shooting and killed all the corrupt military bosses. The reason they turned against their bosses started a few hours earlier. The captain was told that the higher-ups were breaking up his special team. When he asked why, his boss gave a weak excuse, saying there were too many monsters now, so their team wasn't useful anymore. The boss wouldn't explain more. He just told the captain to grab food and weapons and leave, warning him to stay away from the civilian camp. The captain knew his boss was hiding a huge secret and demanded the truth. Sadly, instead of telling him, the boss pulled out a gun and killed himself. The captain looked through his boss's secret files and found out the terrible truth. The top bosses were planning to kill all the civilians. Determined to stop this massacre, the captain gathered his loyal men and went to the meeting room. After the shooting, something awful happened. One of the dead bosses was actually infected and suddenly started turning into a monster. The new monster tackled the captain and choked him, while gross, fleshy tentacles shot out of its mouth. The captain managed to shoot it twice right in the mouth, but the bullets did nothing. Luckily, another soldier kicked the monster hard several several times, making it let go. Then, a soldier with a flamethrower stepped up and burned the monster alive. It screamed as it burned to ashes, leaving only the bad smell of burnt meat. Now that they were safe, the captain decided they needed to run to the civilian camp. But he couldn't leave the military base standing. He set a bomb on a timer to blow up the whole place and kill all the monster test subjects locked inside. Seio, who had passed out from her terrible stomach cramps, woke up just in time because of the loud alarm sirens. She ran through the messy hallways and somehow made it out of the base right before the bombs went off. At the same time, Jung Mong was starting his own plan. Now that he had his energy back, he used his tentacles to smash open the cages and free all the locked-up monsters. Taking control of the monster army, he began taking over the whole military base. Meanwhile, Cha was still locked in his glass cage, treated like a lab rat. Suddenly, the bright flash of the bomb explosion lit up his room. Jung Mong had been watching the security cameras and easily found Cha's cell. When he got there, he started insulting Cha right away. He cruelly said he wasn't there to save him, but to leave him behind forever. Smiling an evil smile, he promised to leave Cha locked in the cage, so he would have to watch all humans get wiped out. This made Cha so mad that he broke the thick glass of his cage and attacked Jung Mong wildly. But just being angry wasn't enough. Jung Mong easily blocked Cha's punches, grabbed his arm, and snapped it. Then he stabbed a sharp tentacle deep into Cha's stomach. Pushed right to the edge of death, the monster inside Cha finally came out. His eyes turned totally black as his broken arm healed itself and changed shape. Huge, misty wings burst out of his back, making him incredibly strong and letting him smack Jung Mong away with massive force. Lying on the floor, Jung Mong actually laughed and pounded the ground happily. He thought Cha was finally reaching his true power by turning into a monster. Cha slammed Jung Mong into a wall, but Cha was still trying to think like a human, and his new, deadly wings terrified him. Holding them back with his good arm, he screamed at Jung Mong to run away before he lost control completely. Jung Mong just laughed, making fun of Cha for not accepting that he was a monster. They crashed into each other again. Jung Mong changed how he fought. Instead of fighting face to face, he used his tentacles like whips to hit Cha's legs. Cha's misty wings couldn't be hurt, but they were so big and heavy that they messed up his balance. It only took a few hits for Jung Mong to wrap his tentacles around Cha's ankles and pull him down. Winning the fight, Jung Mong told Cha he lost his chance to be part of the new human race. Furious, Cha got up and stabbed Jung Mong right through the heart with one of his hard wings. But Jung Mong expected this. He quickly stabbed his tentacles into Cha's wing and injected a strong poison. Cha's body started turning to stone, starting from the wings and moving inward until he was totally frozen like a statue. Standing over the stone Cha, Jung Mong insulted him one last time. He said no humans would ever come save him, and that Cha hadn't saved anyone either. His punishment was to be stuck as a statue forever, unable to even die. Miles away, Seio was struggling to walk across a frozen wasteland while the military base burned in the distance. Suddenly, a terrible cramp hit her stomach, and she saw the shape of a tiny hand pushing against her skin from the inside. The baby was coming right now. She fell onto the freezing ice, knowing it was time. She quickly tore her pants open just as her water broke. Biting down on a piece of cloth to hide her screams, she pushed as hard as she could. Right in the middle of this painful birth, the ice under her broke, and she fell straight into the freezing water. While sinking underwater, the baby was finally born. Later on, Seio woke up back on top of the solid ice. She heard a creepy chewing noise nearby. When she turned her head, she saw a small, ugly creature eating its own umbilical cord. Terrified her and broke her heart. Even though Seio was still completely human, her baby was born a monster. This happened because her fiancé had the monster virus when she got pregnant. Back at the bomb safe camp, the dizzy survivors started waking up. Jisoo and the little boy had somehow survived the first explosion together, but the ruined building above them was making loud noises, about to totally collapse. Sadly, Jisoo was pinned under the broken concrete with a thick metal pole stabbed right through her stomach. She couldn't pull herself out, so she yelled at the crying boy to run away. Crying hard, the boy listened to her harsh but caring orders and ran. Yunyu heard the noise and ran over to the wreckage, but she realized there was no way to save Jisoo. Even though Jisoo fought hard to break free and didn't give up, she was crushed and killed instantly when the concrete ceiling finally fell. Since the camp was totally destroyed, the captain moved the 400 survivors who were left to an empty, underground subway station. But moving underground caused a big new problem. They barely had any clean water or food. After setting up a basic camp, the leaders knew they had to send people out to search for supplies quickly so everyone wouldn't starve. Suddenly, Suddenly, a bright flashlight shone through the dark subway tracks, and a young woman stepped out. It was Chief G, the captain's very smart right-hand helper. 300 days later, the story jumps forward in time, showing Yunyu walking alone through the dark tunnels with a flashlight after waking up. It had been over 300 hard days since the monster outbreak started. The regular people had sadly gotten used to living underground. The Crow platoon soldiers were completely in charge. Only the soldiers were allowed to go outside to look for food, while regular people had to stay locked inside. Every day, they counted everyone and checked any open cuts to find people who might be turning into monsters. During one check, a guard grabbed the little boy and got ready to cut him to see if he healed fast. Before he could cut him, Yunyu stepped in, grabbed the knife, and offered herself instead. She showed her own bloody, unhealed cut to prove she was 100% human. The little boy then bravely showed his own normal cut too. This calmed the guard down, and the health checks continued peacefully. Nearby, the old woman was coughing really badly, making Park run to find medicine for her. She was super worried about her son, June, who had a mental disability. She didn't know where he was and was scared he might accidentally make the guards angry. Park told his bosses about this right away. By checking the security cameras, the captain found June. June had wandered into the soldiers' room and politely asked to join the team going outside to look for supplies. The tough soldiers just made fun of him, saying he didn't know how to fight and didn't have a gun. Not giving up, June held a broom like a gun, but a soldier easily shoved him to the dirt. A sergeant quickly stopped the bullying and yelled at the men to get ready to leave in 5 minutes. In another corner, two angry guys were arguing with the soldiers. They said the military was lying, that the outside world wasn't really that dangerous, and that the soldiers were just keeping all the good food for themselves. They demanded to go outside too. Annoyed, the sergeant threw a gun at their feet and dared them to go out and prove it. Realizing they wouldn't have any soldiers to protect them outside, the two cowards got scared instantly. They backed down and walked away, grumbling to themselves. Down the hall, a soldier named Choi was hanging out quietly with his girlfriend. He heard the two angry guys talking trash and wanted to go shut them up. His girlfriend stopped him, saying fighting with ungrateful idiots was a waste of time, and that most people in the camp were really thankful for the soldiers. But Choi was very worried about a bad, infected cut on his girlfriend's hand. As he got ready to go outside, he promised he would find real medicine for her. Meanwhile, the panicked old mother finally found June. Crying, she scolded him for trying to leave the underground camp. The sad truth was she had cancer before the monsters appeared, and her stomach pains were getting worse every day. Seeing his mother in so much pain was the reason June wanted to go outside to find painkillers. At the same time, the two angry guys cornered Chief G, begging her for a way to sneak out. Since G knew all the subway maps, she knew about a secret tunnel that went around the main gates. She agreed to let them use it, but she gave them a creepy deal. They had to follow Yunyu everywhere she went. Elsewhere, Yunyu walked into the room of Chief G's spoiled daughter and handed her some lipstick she found outside. The spoiled girl hated the color and rudely ordered Yunyu to go back outside and find a better one. Fed up, Yunyu shoved the girl's face into a sink full of water and calmly walked out. Getting ready to go outside alone, Yunyu snuck into the secret tunnel. She had no idea the two guys were spying on her. The dark tunnel was spooky, and the two cowards stopped, too scared of monsters to keep going. Just by luck, June bumped into them. One of the guys came up with a mean plan and tricked June into walking in front of them. Their nasty idea was that if a monster attacked, it would eat June first. Also, if the soldiers caught them, they could blame it all on June. Moving quietly, the three of them started following Yunyu. The reason Chief G wanted them to follow Yunyu was because of a secret from the past. A while ago, Yunyu was attacked in these same tunnels by a monster. That monster used to be Chief G's husband. Yunyu was losing the fight until a mysterious person with huge black wings showed up and killed the monster in a flash. Before Yunyu passed out, the person with the wings tied a red piece of cloth around her arm, but left before she could see their face. When they got outside, the two guys found a grocery store that still had some food. The skinny guy wanted to stop following Yunyu, saying they should just take the free food and sneak back, but his angry friend said no. He believed Chief G actually wanted them to kill Yunyu as payback, thinking Yunyu was the one who killed G's husband. When they walked out of the store, someone suddenly shoved a gun in their faces. Surprisingly, it was June holding the gun. The tough guy easily grabbed the gun away from June. Hearing a noise, June wandered off into the ruined city all by himself. The skinny guy felt a little bad about leaving June alone, but his angry partner didn't care if June died. He only cared about hunting down Yunyu. Further down the road, Yunyu saw their reflection in a broken car mirror and started running. The guy with the gun started shooting wildly, but he had terrible aim, so she easily hid among the broken cars. She ducked inside an old car. When the guy with the gun got close, Yunyu jumped out, kicked him hard to the ground, and ran away. Starting to panic, the skinny guy begged to go back, but his angry friend just yelled at him and called him a coward. While wandering around, June found an old greenhouse covered in plants. Hidden inside was a strange young girl. Worried, he told her it wasn't safe to sleep out in the open. When she didn't answer, he gently touched her hand. The second they touched, the girl's eyes turned totally white, and she aggressively dug into June's mind. She shoved him backward hard, then snapped out of it. As June sat there confused, the girl coldly told him that whatever happened to him next was his own fault for touching her. After she disappeared, a weird, nasty mark appeared on June's arm from where she touched him. At the same time, Yunyu hid inside an abandoned factory, but the guy with the gun was right behind her. Neither of them knew a monster was hiding quietly above them. While walking on a rusty metal bridge, Yunyu slipped, fell, and knocked herself out. Hearing a noise, the guy with the gun fired blindly, but he didn't hit Yunyu. He found the strange girl from the greenhouse instead. When the skinny guy stepped closer to look at her, she just touched his arm and instantly took over his brain. Spinning around, the possessed skinny guy repeated the exact same insults his friend had yelled at him earlier, telling him to get lost and calling him useless. Furious at being disrespected, the angry guy put his gun to his skinny friend's head and shot him. To his total horror, the skinny guy came right back to life. Crying about wanting to go home, his body started turning into a monster, and he violently attacked his friend. The strange girl had the terrifying power to instantly turn humans into monsters just by touching them. Miles away, a squad of soldiers was searching a messy neighborhood, trying to steal gas from old cars. Hearing a noise in the bushes, they got their guns ready. Stepping out was the sad widow whose sick husband got shot by a soldier back at the first camp. She was currently stuck in the painful middle of turning into a monster. Her fingers had grown into long, sharp claws, but her mind was still focused on her human sadness. She was crying and digging wildly in the dirt, looking for her lost wedding ring. The soldiers had rules for checking how dangerous monsters were. Seeing she wasn't trying to attack anyone, they decided she was a harmless, green-level monster. They spray-painted a green mark on her torn dress and got ready to leave. Suddenly, the turning woman stared at a soldier with a shaved head and ran straight toward him. While the rest of the soldiers moved on to the next building, the bald soldier stayed back and gently led the confused woman toward an old theme park. She was obsessed with him because her dead husband had lost his hair from cancer treatments. Her broken brain actually thought this soldier was her dead husband come back to life. While searching, Private Choi found a city map that showed where the local doctor's clinic was. Desperate to find medicine for his girlfriend's bad hand, he sneaked away from his squad without saying a word. Back underground, Chief G put together a team to fix a weak spot called the East Wall. Lots of people wanted to go because they hoped to steal supplies from outside, but there were only a few spots. The nerdy guy who escaped the first apartments with Yunyu tried to kiss up to Chief G's daughter to get picked, but he just embarrassed himself. The spoiled girl hated Yunyu and treated anyone who knew her like trash. Thinking he had no chance, the nerd was totally surprised when Chief G actually picked him for the job. Just as the gates were opening, the old woman with cancer stopped G and begged to go outside with them. Tired of her begging, G finally said yes. When they got to the broken wall, everyone started working hard, except for Chief G's spoiled daughter. She just sat nearby, drying her hair and flirting with Park. While carrying heavy stuff, the nerd saw the old woman trying to sneak off into the wasteland. She was running surprisingly fast for a sick person. Park and G chased after her right away, accidentally following her into a minefield. After a few steps, a scary click sound came from under the old woman's foot. She had stepped on a landmine. Park and G yelled at her to freeze, stopping her from lifting her foot and setting off the bomb. Crying, the old woman admitted why she really came outside. She wanted to wander off and die so she wouldn't be a burden to the camp anymore. She begged them to leave her, but Park ran over and grabbed her leg to hold it still. Since he didn't know how to disarm bombs, he quickly called on the radio for an expert. Then, something terrible happened. Thick drops of blood started splashing onto Park's hands. Looking up, he saw the old woman's nose was bleeding heavily, the clear first sign she was turning into a monster. The captain rushed over but didn't know what to do. As it got dark and started raining hard, he still refused to leave the mutating woman behind. Finally, they came up with a crazy, dangerous plan. He told Park to slowly drive a heavy truck right over the landmine, planning to pull the woman away the exact second the tire rolled onto it. Amazingly, it seemed to work. The heavy tire held the bomb down, letting the captain pull her to safety. But their relief didn't last long. The weight shifted, and the bomb blew up in a massive fireball. Miles away, the supply squad felt the ground shake. Thinking the camp was under attack, they canceled their mission. While rushing back, they finally realized Choi was completely missing. Knowing their camp was in danger, they couldn't waste time looking for him and ran home. Back at the old factory, Yunyu finally woke up to a nightmare. The room was filled with angry monsters. As they surrounded her, she pulled out her knife and sliced open a bag of cement powder, kicking up a huge cloud of dust to blind them. Moving super fast, she dodged their claws and ran up the stairs, but there were just too many of them. She tripped slightly at the top, and the monsters tackled her to the floor. Just as they were about to tear her apart, the mysterious person with the dark wings appeared out of nowhere. With one massive swing of their wings, they wiped out all the monsters instantly, saving her life once again. Yunyu was sure this guardian angel was actually her brother who had turned into a monster, looking out for her. She ran out into the heavy rain, screaming his name into the dark. But it wasn't her brother who walked out. Instead, the creepy young girl stepped forward, wearing a familiar red ribbon tied around her wrist. Out of nowhere, the newly turned skinny monster jumped from the shadows and attacked the child. Yunyu raised her knife to protect the little girl, but the girl just held up her hand. Without even trying, she stopped the charging monster in its tracks. With just a look, she turned the crazy beast into an obedient pet. It was obvious now. This little girl could not only turn people into monsters, but she could also control their minds completely. When Yunyu tried to go talk to the girl, she was violently knocked down by a small, super-fast monster. It was the baby lizard monster that the captain had let live days ago. The girl signaled the baby monster to back off and leave Yunyu alone. Then, she told her new skinny monster bodyguard to pick up the dead body of his friend and carry it away. A little later, Yunyu found the dead body of the guy with the gun under a bridge. After she walked away, two people in hoods stepped out of the bushes. This showed that some people chose to survive in the ruined city instead of following the military's strict rules underground. The two scavengers got lucky and stole the dead guy's backpack full of good supermarket food. Back outside the bunker, it was a miracle. Both the captain and the old woman had survived the bomb blast mostly unhurt. But since her nose was still bleeding, the rules said Park had to take her straight to the isolation rooms. However, the real danger was just starting. The huge noise from the bomb acted like a dinner bell for the monsters in the wasteland. Looking through his binoculars, the captain saw a massive wave of monsters gathering near the river, walking straight toward their underground home. The soldiers turned on the warning sirens and grabbed their guns, getting ready for a huge battle. The soldiers running back to base knew the bomb noise would cause trouble, too. While sprinting, they ran past a really weird monster that looked exactly like a street crosswalk. The soldiers had no idea what human obsession could have created something so weird. Terrified that the monster army would destroy their camp, the soldiers quickly set up a distraction. They ran to an old gas station and blew it up to get the monster's attention. They set up more bombs on a timer before driving away. The trick worked perfectly, letting the soldiers sneak past the distracted monsters. The bad news, though, was that they wasted a lot of the bombs they desperately needed. The soldiers reached the camp gates at the exact same time June stumbled back. He had been acting really strange since he met the girl in the greenhouse, and he passed out right at the door. When he wouldn't wake up for hours, a worried Park rushed him to the doctor. Dr. Lim looked closely at the weird mark on June's arm. He noticed it didn't look like a burn or a bruise. The doctor knew it was actually a monster infection, but he lied to Park, saying it was just a minor sickness that needed rest. The second Park left the room. Dr. Lim eagerly took several tubes of June's blood. The tests proved it. June was turning into a monster, but his cells were changing in a completely new way no one had seen before. While Dr. Lim was distracted by his exciting new discovery, he turned around and saw the bed was empty. Even though he had been knocked out cold, June had magically disappeared. Chief G went to the captain and demanded he kick the infected old woman out immediately. Even though the monster virus isn't caught like a cold, she believed that just the fear of living next to a monster would make people go crazy and cause more people to turn. The captain flat out said no. He wasn't keeping the woman just to be nice. He did it because the camp was losing hope and he needed to prove that life wasn't completely useless. He also reminded G that they already knew not all monsters were violent killers. Annoyed, G walked away, coldly telling him that if people died because of this, it would be all his fault. Once she closed the door, the captain finally let himself show how much pain he was in. He actually hadn't escaped the bomb blast completely safe. Acting super tough, he quietly used tools to dig sharp pieces of metal out of his own skin. Just as he wrapped up his wounds, a sergeant barged in, demanding permission to go out at sunrise to look for Private Choi, who ran away. The captain said no right away. He argued that risking a whole squad to save a guy who abandoned them was a stupid mistake. The sergeant got angry, calling the captain a hypocrite. He yelled that it wasn't fair for the captain to risk his life for an infected regular person, but turn his back on a fellow soldier. They got into a loud screaming match, but the captain wouldn't change his mind and shut the sergeant down. In the soldiers' room, the team kept trying to call Choi on the radio, but he hadn't answered since he disappeared. Because he wasn't answering, the soldiers started arguing angrily about sneaking out to save him. The negative guys on the team said that if he wasn't answering, he was definitely already dead or turned into a monster. Everyone got so mad that two soldiers actually got into a bad fistfight about it. Watching his own men fight each other just made the sergeant even more furious house with the captain. Standing near the door, Choi's girlfriend sadly heard the soldiers saying her boyfriend was probably dead. Deep in the civilian area, the little boy was being pushed around and bullied by two older kids over a silly fight about a bowling ball. Changed by all the terrible things he had seen, the little boy refused to back down. He grabbed a heavy rock and got ready to smash it into the bullies. Yunyu, who had come back with nothing from her own search for her brother, caught his arm and took the rock away. So angry and sad, the crying boy yelled that his dad always told him to be kind, but every kind person he loved ended up dead. He promised that if suffering was the only reward for being good, he would never be a good person again. After sneaking out of the doctor's room, June ran back to his bed. He panicked when he saw his mother wasn't there. Seeing the angry little boy walking past, June begged him to tell him where his old mother was. Being harsh and honest, the kid flat out told him she was turning into a monster. Surprisingly, this bad news actually made June feel a little bit better. He thought that if she traded her sick human body for a monster body, her cancer couldn't kill her anymore. But the little boy quickly crushed that hope. He coldly reminded June that the soldiers kill all monsters, so she was definitely going to die. Panicking, June ran straight for the lockdown area, but was tackled by armed guards. Right before they could beat him up, Dr. Lim stepped in and ordered them to let his patient go. Back in the lab, the doctor kept asking June questions about what happened outside, trying to find out if he got bitten or touched by anything weird. June refused to answer and demanded to see his mother. Trying a new trick, Dr. Lim offered a deal. Tell him how he got the mark on his arm and he could see his mom. June told him everything, explaining how he met the strange girl in the flowers and how her push left the mark. Wanting to know more, the doctor kept asking questions, but June didn't remember anything else. Even though June had monster blood, he wasn't showing any signs of turning and didn't heal fast like normal monsters. The doctor figured he needed to cause June severe mental pain to wake up the monster virus inside him. Smiling an evil smile, Dr. Lim told June it was finally time to go see his mother. The old lady was happy to see Chief G. She said turning into a monster made her cancer pain go away and even grew her missing teeth back. After they talked, she decided to leave the camp the next day. G promised to help but told her to go see her son first. On the wall, a board tracked the numbers. Over 400 regular people were left, but the Crow platoon soldiers had dropped from 60 down to 28. If the missing soldier, Choi, was dead, they were down to 27. Because they had so few soldiers left, it made sense that the captain said no to a rescue mission. While the sergeant thought about crossing Choi's name off the list, another soldier told him Choi's girlfriend was sick. He guessed Choi probably went to find a pharmacy or hospital. Meanwhile, the girlfriend thought Choi was dead and gave up on living. She tried to hang herself, but Yunyu walked by and cut the rope. Even though Yunyu saved her, she acted mean. She told the woman to go die somewhere else and threw her a can of food to eat first. Later, Chief G talked to Yunyu in a mean way. Yunyu already knew Chief G sent those two guys to follow her. Yunyu kept saying she didn't kill G's husband, but G didn't believe her. At first, G wanted to murder Yunyu, but she changed her mind. Now, she planned to wait until Yunyu turned into a monster so she could kill her then. Elsewhere, the priest asked Park about June. The priest had seen June and the two bad guys following Yunyu earlier. He wondered why only June came back. Park thought it was weird, too. Later, Park saw Yunyu feeding a stray cat and wished she would stop doing things on her own. Yunyu just ignored him. Park then looked at the red ribbon on her wrist. He knew a monster had attacked Chief G's husband, but left Yunyu alone. Park guessed the monster actually protected her and left the ribbon as a sign, which was why she kept sneaking out to find it. Suddenly, the cat got scared and ran away. They looked up and saw the creepy little girl standing there. Yunyu asked who she was, and the girl just held out her hand for Yunyu to follow. Yunyu almost went, but Park grabbed her. The little girl wasn't alone. A woman with a gun stepped out, also wearing a red ribbon. Yunyu realized it was Seio. Seeing Park's gun, Seio told him not to do anything stupid. She said she only came to get the kid. When Yunyu tried to get closer, Seio yelled at her to stay away from the girl. Seio called the girl over, put on gloves, and tied the kid's hands with a rope. After they left, Yunyu ignored Park and followed them to look for her brother. Park followed Yunyu. Realizing she wouldn't listen, Park tried to pick her up and carry her back to camp, but she was too heavy. While they were struggling, Yunyu tripped backward into a deep trap. Park grabbed her hand just in time. Out of nowhere, a man in a grass suit showed up and kicked Park down the hole. Luckily, Park grabbed a metal pipe so they didn't fall to their deaths. The bottom of the pit was covered in sharp wooden spikes meant to catch monsters. They carefully climbed down to the floor safely. Meanwhile, June finally got to see his sick mother thanks to Dr. Lim. But this was actually a trick. Dr. Lim wanted to see if bad stress would make June turn into a monster. June thought he was giving his mom cancer medicine, but the doctor actually gave him weak we'd kill her. The old lady said she felt fine now, but June didn't listen and forced her to drink the poison. He thought killing her would stop her pain and make sure the cancer didn't come back. But since his mom had already turned into a monster, she didn't die easily. Seeing his mom survive the poison, June got really angry. He yelled at her to just die, then broke a door and stabbed her over and over. But June didn't turn into a monster like Dr. Lim expected. Instead, June got so angry that his body just exploded. Dr. Lim, covered in blood, stood there shocked before running away embarrassed. The doctor found the captain and tried to explain. He said he just wanted to watch June turn into a monster and had no idea he would blow up. Dr. Lim realized June had turned into a new type of monster that didn't show any normal signs first. The captain didn't want anyone in the camp to panic, so he ordered the doctor to keep it a secret. He told Dr. Lim to lie and say the mother turned into a monster and killed June. The doctor didn't like it, but he had to agree. Finally, the captain burned down the sick room to get rid of the infected old lady, just like Chief G wanted. The next morning, the camp speakers announced they weren't kicking the old lady out anymore. She had fully turned into a monster overnight, and the soldiers killed her. During the morning head count, they noticed 4 people were missing: Park, Yun-Yu, and the 2 bad guys. Since guards were always at the front door, the soldiers realized there had to be secret exits. The sergeant ordered everyone to search the camp and weld shut any hidden tunnels they found. The captain knew Chief G knew the bunker better than anyone, so he asked her about it. But Chief G pretended she didn't know anything. Back in the hole, Park and Yun-Yu were still stuck. Monsters walked by above them, but luckily none fell in. Finally, someone threw a rope down. Yun-Yu climbed up easily, but Park's ankle was hurt, so he needed help. She told him she would only pull him up if he stopped following her. Park said no, arguing that her sneaking around put the whole camp in danger. Yun-Yu didn't want to help at first, but finally gave in. Just as she was pulling him up, a monster roared nearby. Then, a gunshot went off and splashed gasoline everywhere. Someone was shooting at a monster hiding in the trees. The monster caught on fire and ran into a pond to put it out. After that, 2 people in grass suits walked up. Park recognized the older man. It was the stranger from the bus who chose to live outside. The girl with him was his daughter, Hani. Hani liked how strong and handsome Park looked, so she asked her dad if they could leave Yun-Yu behind and take Park. Her dad didn't want to fight, but he gave in to his daughter. Worried Yun-Yu would tell the soldiers about them, they tied up both Park and Yun-Yu and locked them in a warehouse for the night. Before leaving, Hani stole Yun-Yu's hidden knife. Yun-Yu felt hopeless as the heavy door locked. Meanwhile, Seio took the little girl to the river. It turned out the little girl was actually Seio's daughter, the baby born on the ice. While Seio had her eyes closed, the girl ripped the bandage off her mother's bad eye. This gave Seio a bad flashback, and she kicked the kid away by accident. Seio quickly checked if her daughter was okay, but made sure not to touch her. The little girl asked if her mom was still scared of her because of her eye. Seio ignored the question and told her to go inside the room. The daughter argued, asking why she was being locked up when she didn't do anything wrong. Seio figured it out and asked if she had been secretly touching humans again and turning them into monsters. The little girl stayed quiet, which meant yes. This made Seio furious. Ignoring the crying child, Seio shoved her into the room and locked the door. A flashback showed what happened a year ago. After the baby was born, Seio and her daughter lived on an old boat. Other survivors noticed the baby was a monster and kept trying to kill it. Seio fought hard to protect her, but there were always too many attackers. During one fight, the baby ran away, got shot with arrows, and was finally hit by a bullet. Thinking the baby was dead, the attackers walked over. But the baby was still breathing and suddenly grew into a little girl right in front of them. The girl touched one of the men, instantly turning him into a monster. Following the girl's orders, the new monster killed all the attackers. Seio saw the whole thing. From that day on, she made a strict rule. Her daughter was never allowed to touch another human. Back in the present, a weird smell filled the boat. A fire had started. Seio quickly grabbed her daughter and dragged her outside. Down in the water, the baby lizard monster swam toward the burning boat, trying to save them. Without a word, Seio shot her gun at the water to scare the baby monster away. This made her daughter really sad and angry. She pointed out that she was a monster too, and dared her mom to shoot her next time. Seio said she didn't see her as a monster, but the girl knew she was lying. She brought up the day she was born, remembering that Seio actually thought about killing her but was too scared to do it. The little girl said she wished she could just disappear. Hearing this painful truth, Seio didn't know what to say. The little girl then jumped off the burning boat into the water. Seio jumped in right after her, but the child was completely gone. Late that night, Park was fast asleep while Yun-Yu kept kicking the locked door. Suddenly, Hani opened it. She asked if Yun-Yu was still looking for her brother, because she wanted to keep Park all to to herself. Hani waited until her dad was gone and secretly let Yoon-yu escape. The next morning, Park woke up shocked to see Hani sleeping next to him. Seeing Yoon-yu was gone, he demanded his gun back and said he was going back to the camp. Hani got upset, but Park wouldn't change his mind. Not giving up, Hani begged him to eat one last meal with her. She gave him a bowl of weird green mush. Park was suspicious, but Hani took a big bite first to prove it wasn't poison, so Park started eating. But after just one bite, Park got super dizzy and passed out. Back at the camp, the captain's bad injuries were healing way too fast. He had caught the monster virus, too. Looking in a mirror, he saw an evil version of himself. The reflection made fun of him, saying he was a fake and that he actually loved killing people. The evil reflection told the captain to shoot himself in the head for fun. Fighting to stay sane, the captain got so mad at the mirror that he tried to choke his reflection. But in real life, he was actually choking Dr. Lim. The captain snapped out of it just in time. The doctor knew the captain was turning into a monster, but to be safe, he lied and said it was just stress from the war. Dr. Lim promised to help him, but said he needed to find the special monster, June, to do it. The doctor knew he couldn't cure the virus, but he thought he could slow it down so the captain wouldn't fully change. Meanwhile, Yoon-yu was walking through the dark wasteland alone. A monster stepped out and she grabbed a stick to fight. Right then, Seio's young daughter showed up and told the monster to stop. Yoon-yu asked the girl to take her to Seio, but the child coldly said her mother and all humans were evil. Yoon-yu finally realized the scary kid was Seio's daughter. While Yoon-yu was stunned, the girl pushed her backward into another huge hole. As she fell into the dark, the person with the big black wings showed up again to save her. This time, she finally saw his face. It wasn't her brother, it was Cha. Cha had somehow escaped being turned to stone by Jung Mong. He clearly knew the little girl. Back when Seio had the baby on the ice, Cha had stopped Seio from killing it. Cha took the baby and raised her himself. Since the girl grew up so fast, she eventually went back to live with Seio. They lived happily until the bad guys attacked their boat. That fight proved the girl was dangerous. Terrified of losing her fast-growing daughter, Seio tried to cut a scar into the girl's arm so she could always recognize her. While they fought over the knife, the child accidentally hit Seio in the face, making her blind in one eye forever. Back in the present, after Cha pulled Yoon-yu out of the hole, he tried to walk away. But Yoon-yu wouldn't give up and kept following him. Cha used his super speed to block her, but she kept going until the strange man in the grass suit stepped out and physically stopped her. Once Yoon-yu backed off, Cha asked the little girl why she was being so mean to her mom. The kid said that because her mom was human, she tried to understand humans. But humans just hurt her and killed all her monster friends. She completely hated all humans now. Cha told her to go back to the boat, but the girl said she didn't have a home anymore. She admitted she was the one who started the fire. She wanted to cut all ties with Cha and her mother forever. Panicking, Cha ran toward the burning boat. At the same time, Seio had given up looking for her daughter in the water. She climbed back onto the burning boat and just sat there, waiting to die. Soon, the smoke made her pass out. Just in time, the baby lizard monster climbed onto the boat. The fire probably reminded it of its own mother burning to death. The tiny monster tried hard to drag Seio to safety, but it was too small and almost got crushed by falling wood. When Cha finally got there, the baby monster was totally exhausted. Using his super strength, Cha grabbed Seio with one arm and the baby monster with the other, jumping away from the fire to safety. When Seio woke up, she felt incredibly guilty. She thought her desire to have a family was what made her baby turn into a monster. She still didn't know her fiancé caught the virus in the lab before she got pregnant. As they talked, the tiny lizard monster woke up too. Cha asked Seio if she really believed all monsters were evil, pointing out that this tiny creature risked its life in the fire because it saw her as family. He reminded her that all monsters used to be human, and some still cared about people. Later, the stranger in the grass suit and Seio got back to their hidden RV. They found Hani panicking. Park was shaking and foaming at the mouth because he was badly poisoned. Seio smelled the leftover food and figured it out. Hani had cooked toxic mushrooms. Hani didn't get sick because her body was immune to them, but Park was dying. Needing a cure fast, the stranger searched the woods all night, found the right medicine plants, and saved Park's life. While eating, Yoon-yu started asking the stranger personal questions about him and Hani. The man got angry and told everyone to pack up and leave as soon as they finished their food. Park tried to convince the man to come live in the underground military camp, saying it was too dangerous outside. But the stranger didn't trust humans at all and said no. Just then, Cha walked up carrying Seio. Seeing a monster, the stranger quickly pointed his gun and fired a warning shot. Yoon-yu jumped in front to stop him. Cha calmly explained that their boat burned down and they just needed a place to stay. Ignoring the stranger's yelling, Park walked over to help carry Seio into the RV. Without thinking, the stranger pointed his gun and shot right at Cha. Cha. Park and Yoon-yu begged him to stop, but the man hated monsters too much to listen. Running out of ideas, Yoon-yu pulled her knife and grabbed Hani as a hostage, hoping it would make the man drop his gun. But she underestimated Hani. The girl easily grabbed the knife out of Yoon-yu's hand. Surprisingly, Hani didn't attack. She just used the distraction to grab her dad and drive away in the RV. Knowing the loud gunshots would bring monsters, Park quickly hid everyone inside an empty house. Back at the military camp, the angry sergeant was packing his bags to sneak out and save the missing soldier, Choi, but the captain caught him at the gate with a team of soldiers. Surprisingly, the captain didn't stop him. Instead, he told the sergeant that Choi's radio signal was coming from Chestnut Island, an old, ruined military base. To make sure the sergeant didn't die going alone, the captain sent a team of top soldiers with him. The captain wasn't doing this to be nice. He needed the soldiers alive to help Dr. Lim find a cure for his own monster virus. Dr. Lim went with them, dragging a huge, heavy suitcase. When asked what was inside, he just smiled and said it was a secret. During the drive, they had to stop so the doctor could use the bathroom, and he weirdly dragged the heavy suitcase into the bushes with him. Thinking the crazy doctor was up to something, the sergeant told a soldier to follow him. Deep in the woods, they heard scary noises, and the doctor's suitcase suddenly started shaking. The scared soldier begged him to drop it, but the doctor ignored him. The scary noises were real. Giant monsters made of stone that looked like transformers crashed through the trees. The doctor just walked away calmly while the terrified soldier shot at them. The rest of the team ran over and started shooting, too. The stone monsters were incredibly strong and easily flipped the truck over with one hit. By some miracle, the whole team managed to cram into the last truck and speed away while shooting out the back. Once they were safe, the angry soldier demanded to know what was in the suitcase. Everyone was shocked when he opened it to show a dead monster. The soldiers laughed at the doctor, asking if he was trying to start a monster museum. Not caring, Dr. Lim shared a scary thought. The stone monsters weren't just dumb animals. They were smart and worked together like an army. He then explained that he pulled the dead monster out of a giant hive hanging in the trees while he was supposedly using the bathroom. The suitcase had been completely empty when they left the camp. When they finally got to Chestnut Island, the team split up. The ruined base smelled terrible and was covered in dead bodies. Even worse, something they couldn't see was hunting them in the dark. Suddenly, a soldier was violently yanked into the shadows by a monster. His friends tried to pull him back, but they only managed to grab his ripped-off arm. The soldiers had no idea, but the bloody mess meant Jung Mong was hiding in the exact same building. Deep inside the base, Dr. Lim found a giant, beating pile of flesh that looked like a huge heart. He was totally amazed by it. Wanting to study it, he reached out to touch it, but the sergeant pulled him back hard. The sergeant yelled at him, saying his crazy ideas were going to get everyone killed. The doctor didn't care. He ordered the sergeant to take the men and check the next room, demanding to be left alone with the giant heart. Even though it was a bad idea to split up, the sergeant wanted to find his missing soldier, so he agreed. He handed the doctor a walkie-talkie and led his men away. Back at the underground camp, the captain was watching the tracking signals of the sergeant's team when the screens suddenly scrambled. At the same time, the camp's monster alarms started going off. Down where the regular people live, a few survivors heard creepy scratching sounds coming from inside the concrete walls. Chief G heard the scary sounds too, but her face showed she was hiding a dark secret she couldn't talk about. Panicking, she quickly looked for her daughter, asking for her help and saying the girl was the only person she could trust. Following the monster alarm, a group of soldiers went straight to Chief G's private office. Without saying a word, they glared at her and ordered everyone to gather in the middle of the camp right away. Once everyone was there, Chief G secretly gave her daughter a signal, telling her to sneak away from the crowd. The Tough Crow platoon soldiers then did something brutal. They purposely cut their own skin to show they didn't heal fast, proving they weren't monsters. The captain then gave the scared crowd a warning. He said the monster virus had changed, meaning anyone showing even small signs of turning would be killed immediately. He told them that to survive now, they couldn't trust anyone. To make things scarier, he said anyone caught hiding their own symptoms or protecting someone who was sick would be killed on the spot. This harsh speech left everyone shaking, but Chief G was the only one who actually clapped. She then dared the captain to take the test and prove he was human, too. She figured that if he refused to cut himself, everyone would know he was hiding something. Trapped, the captain dragged a knife across his arm, while hundreds of people watched the fresh cut. He tried to act calm, but just as his super-fast healing was about to give him away, the lights went completely out. Hidden in the dark, his cut healed itself instantly. Using the blackout as cover, Chief G sneaked away from the crowd and went back to her office. There, she unlocked a heavy metal vault door, showing that she was hiding something truly terrible inside. Even though the captain didn't get caught, his mind started playing tricks on him. His evil second personality teased him from the shadows. He imagined a scary scene where the camp survivors were were running for their lives, and he was the monster hunting them. In this nightmare, he was covered in the blood of the people he killed. Staring at the imaginary dead bodies in the hallway, an evil voice whispered in his ear, telling him that he was the real monster hiding in the base. While the captain was stuck in his nightmare, a soldier knocked and walked into the room. The captain ignored the soldier calling his name and just kept staring weirdly at his reflection in the mirror. Finally, he fought off his dark thoughts and snapped back to reality. The two men went down to the basement to check the power box, and quickly saw that the electrical wires had been cut on purpose. During the blackout, the basement door had also been locked from the inside. The problem was that only Chief G and one sergeant had the keys to that door, but both of them were supposedly in the crowd when the lights went out. The captain knew right away that someone planned the blackout to cover up a secret mission. Soon after, they found a big clue on the floor, a ring that belonged to Chief G's teenage daughter. The soldiers dragged the girl right to her mother. When the captain asked G about her daughter cutting the power, the scared girl begged her mom to help her. Instead of protecting her, Chief G slapped her daughter hard across the face. Acting cold, G pretended she knew nothing about the blackout plan. Because of this, the guards dragged the crying, betrayed girl away. Later that night, Chief G woke up the nerdy guy from his bed and asked for a favor. He agreed and followed her into a quiet room. There, G unrolled some building maps. She told him the current camp was too small to live in for a long time, and shared a secret plan to dig and make the camp bigger. She strongly warned him that the captain could never find out because he would stop them. Her real reason was clear: a bigger, hidden area would be the perfect place to hide regular people who were just starting to turn into monsters. Knowing how mad the captain would be, the nerdy guy tried to back out, but G expected this and wouldn't let him leave. She picked him for a very specific reason. Without warning, G grabbed a knife and cut his hand, and watched as the cut healed instantly. She told him she knew he was infected and showing signs this whole time. Before, infected people were just kicked out, but after what happened with the old lady, the soldiers' new rule was to kill them. The nerdy guy thought about turning her in, but realized G was blackmailing him and held his life in her hands, so he had to agree. Now that he had to help, G led him down a steep set of stairs into a deeper, secret underground area. While they were walking down, G coldly kicked him hard in the back. He tumbled down the stairs. He didn't die or pass out, but he lay there in a lot of pain, crying and asking why she would betray him like that. Back up on the surface, Seio was dying. Park figured out she had breathed in too much smoke from the boat fire. Since they were hiding in an old hospital, Park quickly searched the rooms and found an oxygen tank. Sadly, the tank was totally empty. Without oxygen soon, Seio's organs would shut down. Time was running out. When morning came, Yunyu asked Cha if they were really just going to stand there and watch Seio die. Avoiding a straight answer, Cha sadly said that Seio basically chose to die by refusing to leave the burning boat. Changing the subject, Yunyu pulled out a wrinkled piece of paper she found earlier at the Green Apartments. It was a diary written by her missing brother, Lee, where he wrote down every single monster symptom he had. Since Cha was the last person to see Lee, Yunyu begged to know if her brother acted weird the last time they met. Cha said Lee acted totally normal. This left Yunyu still wondering if her brother was human or a full monster now. Meanwhile, Cha found the little girl in an overgrown garden and begged her to visit Seio one last time. The angry child said no, remembering that Seio once said she wished the girl was never born. Cha gently pushed back, warning her that if she didn't say goodbye, she would regret it forever. The girl asked if Cha really wanted her mom to die. They both knew a dark secret. Seio could easily be saved if the girl infected her with the monster virus on purpose, but Cha knew that was wrong and wouldn't do it. He just asked the girl to come with him, saying she didn't have to save Seio, just being there would be enough. Touched by his words, the little girl held his hand and agreed to go. Inside the ruined hospital, Yunyu told Park a huge secret that was weighing her down. Everyone in the camp believed she killed Chief G's husband in cold blood. The real truth was that the man was already a full crazy monster. That day in the tunnels, he completely lost his mind and attacked her. She only killed him to save her own life. Shocked, Park asked why she let everyone call her a murderer instead of telling the truth. Yunyu explained that if Chief G hadn't unlocked the stadium doors a long time ago, everyone would have died. Because she owed G her life, Yunyu couldn't bring herself to break the widow's heart by telling her that her husband turned into a monster. When Cha and the little girl walked into the room, Seio had magically opened her eyes. The others stepped out into the hallway to give them privacy. Seio managed to whisper a weak apology to her daughter, but then she started coughing up blood. The little girl didn't say anything back. She just held her dying mother's hand for a second before walking quickly out of the room. Surprised she left so fast, Cha heard a loud crash inside. He ran in and found Seio lying on the floor, completely still and looking dead. He started to cry, but a second later, Seio's burnt, dead body violently jerked back to life. Park and Yunyu watched in total shock. It made no no sense for a dying human who wasn't sick with the virus to suddenly turn into a monster. Trying to control the crazy situation, Cha admitted the dark truth. Seio's daughter was a monster, and just touching her mom was what caused the infection. In the middle of turning, Seio fought hard to hold onto her human mind. Terrified that she would kill her friends, she fought her own changing body and threw herself out of the high hospital window. Accepting his own monster side, Cha jumped out right after her. Down on the ground, Seio's twisted, black arm hit Cha, but he didn't fight back at all. He just let her hit him. While they struggled, Cha's eyes turned completely white, and he used his mind-reading power to look into Seio's broken brain. He saw her worst memories. After she realized her baby was a monster, Seio tried many painful times to kill it, but the baby couldn't be killed. Her strong, motherly love fought against her need to kill the monster, and it completely destroyed her mind. Usually, when humans turn into monsters, their minds get trapped in happy dreams where they get whatever they want. But Seio's dream was pure, never-ending torture. Seeing how much mental pain she was in, Cha made a heartbreaking choice. He used his own hands to kill her and finally end her suffering. After having to kill her, Cha went back to a hospital bed and fell into a deep sleep. This was the very first time Park had ever seen a full monster turn back into a normal-looking human. A huge wave of guilt hit the soldier as he thought about all the monsters he had killed. He wondered if the beasts he shot could have turned back into humans too. If so, was he actually a mass murderer? Yunyu tried to make him feel better, saying that when a crazy monster is trying to kill you, a soldier doesn't have a choice. Deciding to stay at the hospital to watch over Cha, Yunyu said goodbye to Park, who decided to walk back to the military camp alone. Hours later, Cha finally woke up, but the person looking at Yunyu was completely his cold, monster side. When she asked what he was going to do next, he just stayed creepy and quiet. Meanwhile, things were changing between the stranger in the grass suit and his daughter, Hani. Spending a little time with Park changed the teenage girl. She wasn't acting as mean anymore and actually liked Yunyu. Seeing how brave and helpful they were reminded Hani that it's good to care about people. She told her dad that hiding from the world forever was an empty life, making them no better than dead bodies. Her tough dad completely disagreed, saying that in this ruined world, not getting infected and staying alive was the only thing that mattered. Later, while they rested, the dad drank a lot from a bottle of alcohol. Soon after, he fell over and passed out completely. It was obvious Hani had put something in his drink to knock him out. Taking her chance to be free, she dragged her sleeping dad into an old shed and got into the driver's seat of a broken-down car. Because she was so wild, she only realized she didn't know how to drive after she turned the key. Not caring about the details, Hani jammed the car into gear and sped off on a crazy new adventure. Back on Chestnut Island, the search team wasn't finding anything. Everyone got depressed, thinking the captain's tip was wrong and that Choi was never even there. They started panicking, realizing they might have walked right into a huge nest of monsters. The team leaders tried hard to keep everyone calm, but their worst fears came true when they found a giant underground cave filled with all kinds of monsters, grouped together by how dangerous they were. As they quickly got ready to run away, an ugly monster climbed up and grabbed a skinny soldier's leg, weirdly thinking he was a pretty lady. Another soldier thought fast and blasted the monster with a flamethrower, barely saving his friend's life. While they were catching their breath, a strange man suddenly appeared. He yelled a warning about more monsters coming and hurried the confused soldiers into a strong lab room. The second they walked in, the stranger slammed the heavy metal doors, trapping them inside. At the same time, the sergeant and his soldier were looking for supplies in a ruined hospital wing. Hearing a noise from a closet, they got their guns ready. When they opened the doors, they found a scared girl with long hair hiding inside. She said she was hiding there because the monsters weirdly stayed away from that hallway. The most important thing she said was that she had recently seen a young guy wearing an army uniform. Sure this was the missing soldier, Choi, the sergeant ordered her to show them where he was. The three of them quickly walked to a special lockdown area holding both full monsters and humans just starting to get sick. Looking through a heavy, locked metal gate, they finally saw Choi. Since the girl didn't have the keys, they couldn't open the gate, but she said there were other humans walking around the building. Telling his soldier to guard the door, the sergeant and the girl left to find help. Choi begged his boss to leave him behind, but the loyal sergeant refused to leave one of his men. Through the bars, Choi gave his friend a small bottle of medicine, the absolute best thing he could find for his sick girlfriend back at camp. He begged his friend to run away while he still could, warning him that staying meant he would definitely die. Following the girl, the sergeant quickly found the strange man from the hallway. Without wasting time, the sergeant demanded he let Choi out. When the strange man said no, The tough sergeant didn't hesitate. He pulled out his gun and shot the man twice right in the arm. Not even caring about the bleeding bullet holes, the strange man calmly said he was offering them a chance to become something better. The second he said that, scary, tracking tentacles shot right out of the young girl's back, easily grabbing the shocked sergeant. It was a deadly trap. Both the strange man and the innocent girl were actually super powerful monsters known as new humans. Realizing the plan was ruined, the lone soldier tried to go find his boss, but got attacked in the hallway by another super strong monster. Meanwhile, the two soldiers locked inside the lab were living their own nightmare. Creepy, echoing laughter started coming through the heavy metal door. Panicking, one of the soldiers shot a bunch of bullets right into the metal door. When the laughing suddenly stopped, he stupidly put his face up to the bullet holes to look outside. In a bloody flash, deadly tentacles shot straight through the holes, killing him instantly. Deep inside the building, Dr. Lim was still totally amazed by the giant, beating heart monster. Suddenly, a quiet shadow appeared in the doorway, looking like a mix between a man and a monster. The person didn't say a word, turned around, and walked down the hall, clearly wanting the doctor to follow. Dr. Lim followed the person into a clean lab, the exact same room where he used to do his sick tests on the special monsters, including Seio's fiancée. The mystery person leading him was actually Wook. This connects back to an earlier part of the story. When Wook's body got hurt too badly to heal, he found the living remains of Seio's fiancée. Wook ate the remains, taking both the monster's power and the fiancée's leftover mind. Wook brought the doctor here on purpose to show off the fiancée's original, empty monster body, which was now floating in a giant tank of chemicals. The story then cuts back to the giant heart monster. While the doctor was gone, the huge pile of flesh started shaking violently. With a gross ripping sound, a fully grown, naked man fell out of the flesh pod and hit the floor. The reborn man was actually Yunyu's missing brother, Lee. Because he grew inside the monster nest, Lee had officially turned into a super powerful new human, perfectly setting him up as the ultimate scary villain for the next season. And with that creepy reveal, the second season completely ends. That wraps up season 2. If you want more, you'll have to wait for the season 3 video. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know so I can continue with the next part. See you next time.